our last guest is someone that the chat has been extremely stoked about, and this project has been making waves in the Solana ecosystem. They specifically are a Solana hackathon winner, and they're building a horse racing game. So at this point, it obviously gives away that it is DarleyGo. And within this game, players can purchase, race, collect, and breed NFT horses. All while doing this, they combine an intuitive lore with horse racing and really take this idea of racing in the metaverse to the next level. So, as always, there's a ton going on with these projects, and we have a special guest who's no stranger to Solana news. So, I want to bring on Alvin, the co founder of DarleyGo, and really excited to chat. Alvin, it looks like your mic's muted. Just heads up.
Hey, sorry
There we go.
about that. Hey, thanks for having me here. How are
Oh,
you?
it's amazing. I also just want to thank you for powering through. It's really late where you are, yeah?
It's okay. 2:30 isn't too late. It's still kind of actually it's in the morning right now. So, yeah, yep,
It's the crypto world, so we
yep.
learn
You
how to
never
power
sleep.
through it.
Yep.
And just
Um,
to kick things, yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say to kick things off, if you have a slide, we can jump into that.
yeah. Let me
The
just
overall,
do
yeah,
the slide share thing here, real
yep,
quick.
that would be great there. And then we'll just jump into obviously overall what DarleyGo is, and then I'll jump in if I have any questions and try to just open it up for some discussion. But really excited what you guys are building, and it seems like it's just getting closer and closer.
Thank you. Let me just share this screen right here.
Yep, and we're all good to go.
Okay. Think. Can you guys see the screen here?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So first of all, once again, thanks for having us here today. DollyGo, it's a horse race, it's a NFT horse racing game that's built on Solana, where it allows player to, like you mentioned earlier before, where you can train, raise, breed, and even trade your NFT horses. And all these NFT horses are unique, pretty much one and only. So under the DollyGo game design, we have built three different bloodlines for the DollyGo universe, which is Dolly, Ariel, and Hayato. And there are only 33,000 Genesis horses will ever be existed in the DollyGo ecosystem. And Dolly here is the most rare bloodline that you can ever get. There are only 10% of the supply. 10% of the 33,000 Genesis horses are going to be Dolly. So in terms of the bloodline, I have to mention that not only bloodline will play a big part in influencing the race, the overall performance, each of the horses' performance abilities, but it also plays a huge part in affecting the cooldown time on racing between racing and breeding as well. So for the Dolly Go game mode, we have created three different game modes for our players to play and explore, which is racing, training, and also breeding. For the racing part, here's actually the what it's going to be look like in game. It's going to be really straightforward. We're trying to make it as simple as possible for a player to play. Um, First of all, as long as you have our NFT horse, you can race for free, pretty much. It's always going to be free. The top three runner will get rewards. There are going to be three different levels of the races. All horses going to start with level 1, and they have to work their way up to all the way to level 3. And of course, with higher level, a bigger prize pool or reward pool will come along. However, the overall challenges or the overall quality of your competitors will also become tougher. It's going to be much more competitive as level go up. For the training mode, there are two types of training that we're building under the training features. The first one will be we have a system called ability badges, which we have created so many different categories of badges for our players to identify their horse's capabilities. For example, there is a badge called marathon. So if a horse has a marathon runner, that means that horse usually perform a longer distance race the best. So with that system, we believe that it helps player to make a better decision in picking races for their horses in order to boost up the winning chance. Um, and the second type of training will be for each of the horse. We actually have a maximum number of races they can only race per day or per 24 hours. For example, all horses are going to start with only 10 races per day. But if you really want to race more per day, what you can do is to go through the second type, the training mode. You can pay a small cost to boost up the maximum number of races you can do per day permanently. However, in phase one, we can only let player to boost it once. As the game go, more mature, as the user base get more mature, will definitely increase the maximum number of races that allow player to train up to.
I really think it's exciting how you guys are making sure that people are actually playing the game and active to make sure that they are able to progress. Things like the racing and leveling up your horse and also the training are super exciting. And I think it's something that, especially myself as a gamer, rewarding the players is obviously paramount.
Yeah, so what we're thinking is when designing the game, especially the GameFi sector, I feel like of course in the phase one of the whole industry, everyone was just focusing on the financial parts, right? Like how much you can get out of how many tokens you can make per day and stuff like that. They really don't focusing on even the game makers. I just feel like they haven't really paid too much attention on the gameplay part, right? So I think the whole industry has been evolving. People are more, focusing on the overall quality of the game. Like, is it going to be, of course, you have to build a game that can bring values to people. Of course, in the GameFi sectors, you have to um, uh, enable players to make some sort of income out of the game. But at the same time, is it going to be fun to play? So our team has such a strong background in game design, in mobile gaming design. What we are doing here is to trying to combine all the things together. Like not only you can make real tokens here, at the same time I hope the players can really enjoy playing DarleyGo and really get the interaction with the NFT horses and other NFT assets in the future as well.
Yeah. And I think that's incredibly important.
So here's the what's gonna be the ability badges gonna look like. We're still really working on the design. Don't worry about that too much for now. But what happened is you will be able to see, okay, if your horse get a same badge, that means your horse probably performed better on the same stadium or turf or like under some certain weather conditions. So for the breeding parts, I would say breeding is absolutely one of the most important elements when it comes to scaling up the whole platform. Um, so under our breeding design, there are two types of things that players need to be aware of, which is the mutation probabilities and also bloodline system. What it does is instead of letting generation types decide each of the horse's overall quality, we're implementing something called mutation probabilities. So we let each of the horses' own pedigree and family trees to decide its overall quality. So with this system, we believe that will boost up the chance for the players to breed a better horses, to breed a horse that can be just as good as his parents or even better. So um, but of course, other than the mutation probabilities, with the ability badge system, it's also go with like a more like a inherit system. So, for example, if there is a specific badge that you would like to have for your new horse, you really have to do your parts. You really have to study hard to find the horse that has that specific batch that you have, or the or the higher mutation probability rates to, because there is no 100% guarantee that you will get that specific batch from that horse. There's always a chance, just like the real life. You might get it or you might not, but you really have to do your own study on the whole family tree when it comes to the breeding part. So here at DarleyGo, what we also really want to do is to make the whole game as accessible as possible for all the players around the world. To do that, we believe the scholarship program is pretty much a must. To do that, we have two different programs to do under this scholarship features, which is direct rental and syndicate. Direct rental is a really straightforward model where players can lend out their horses at a fixed cost for a specific amount of time. Whereas the syndicate model is more like a profit sharing model. For example, I have a horse that I don't really play with. What I can do is I can lend it out directly to my friend, or even to someone that I don't know on over the marketplace for free, pretty much. Then whatever income that horse generate, or that the horse generate by the players, we're going to split up the profits. It's like, let's say, for example, 50-50 or 60-40, whatever the amount that you set when lending out the horse. So by implementing this program, we believe will help a lot of players to get access to the game in the future.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to incorporate these programs because, again, I was talking to someone like Matt Sorgs from Solana Labs, and he was just noting on how important these things are, and they really lower the barrier of entry to players, and also really just create a new dynamic of gaming and really just allow people to explore new opportunities. So seeing that you guys are actively thinking about this is really exciting, especially looking at the excess of other scholarship programs. And I mean, the easy one to just look at is something like Axie. So it's awesome seeing DarleyGo think about these things and how they're going to incorporate it.
Yeah, of course, we've been working really closely with some of the guilds who were also our seed investors. For example, Guildfied and Avocado, and also some other really amazing guilds. We've been really listening to what they really think about the whole industry. What do they think that they will need in order to uh, uh, grow grow the whole industry to another level. So we're still really working on this whole scholarship program. I believe it's not going to be just these two features, the direct rental and also syndicate, but we also, there will be something come up in the future, that for sure, for sure.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
So in order to maximize the whole games, grow a strong and long-lasting in-game economic, or tokenomic, what you would say, we're adopting dual token model, which is going to be GXE and DGE, which also stand for Galaxy Essential and DarleyGo Essence. We'll talk about that more later in the future. But if you're interested in learning more about our tokenomics, you can definitely hop onto our website, which is available on our website and the paper. And here's the whole chart. It might be difficult for me to explain the whole chart here. Therefore, I have this prepared for you guys. This is really the hand draft when we designed the whole tokenomic early last week. So this is more like when designing this tokenomic, we're coming from the player's perspective. So, as a players, there are two ways you can get into the DarleyGo ecosystem. The first one will be, of course, really straightforward. You can buy our NFT horses on the marketplace and start racing, breeding, training your horses, right? But on the other hand, if you're not really ready to become a horse owner yet, what you can do is to go through the scholarship program. You can rent a horse or do the profit sharing, which is a syndicate model, to start racing horses to get the feel and experience of DarleyGo.
Yeah, and this is awesome. In the aspect of tokenomics and economies, this is something that is really hard to nail down. What was it like crafting this up and putting the thought process into this? Were there certain other successful models you looked at? How did you really get to this? Because it is something that's pretty delicate and the game will revolve around very importantly. I think just mentioning that you're trying to look at it from a user's point of view is amazing.
Yeah, so when designing the whole chart, it wasn't easy for sure. But we've the whole team have done such a research and study on many other amazing games in the field. Of course, the Axie Infinity, Z Run, which we were inspired by, and to try to take some of the goods and get rid of the bads from their model, and also combine with all of our experience and background to try to come up with something that fit our value the best and the community.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And here's the roadmap that we are looking at. We are currently in phase two. Phase two, we are looking at to the game launch. Actually, we're looking at the game launch. We're expecting to launch the game in at the end of March or early April with the racing and breeding features all together, and of course the in-house marketplace. And for later stage of for later phases, it's gonna be how we are gonna improve the whole gaming experience, and also adding more features for our player to explore. For example, there is a in phase four, we're expecting to do something called Galaxy Mode. Galaxy Mode is more like a metaverse kind of thing, but it's gonna be only horse focused metaverse. So, for example, we are gonna sell different planets, since we're in a DarleyGo is a mythical based gaming, right? So what we're gonna do is we can sell planets. We can sell planets where people can build their own stable or stadium to as host racing event at their own rule, under their own rule. So this is what we're planning to do, and also the which really what's really interesting is our CTO actually he did a really interesting project 2 years ago, which is the VR project. What which can be applied on DALL-E Go is to integrate how we're going to combine the VR technology within this Galaxy mode. Imagine if you're wearing for example, Oculus glasses, right? You can actually ride your NFT horses virtually on the Galaxy. So this is what we are planning to do, but it's kind of far off to talk about from now. But we're expecting, if everything goes well, if everything goes as we planned, we're expecting to launch that version the end of the year or early next year. This is what
Yeah,
we're looking at right now.
that's really exciting, Alvin. And it looks like people in the chat are definitely getting fired up about what's coming from DarleyGo. I'm curious, getting back towards the phase two, how has it been developing the game so far? Can you give us some insight of what that's looked like from your end? Maybe some challenges, the rewarding aspects of it, and really just give insight. I think it's great for users to understand all the work that's going into this.
So when it comes to, first of all, me myself, I cannot, I definitely don't want to mislead you guys when it comes to the technology development parts. Since our CTO is probably working hard at home right now, but what I would say is the most challenging part is definitely how you're gonna make the whole game balance, right? First, even though we have the whole tokenomic design, how are you gonna distribute them, right? How are you gonna distribute, like how many rewards is there gonna be from the racing parts? How many uh, tokens it required for breeding, for training? That I think that part is probably the most difficult and challenging parts for us to work on. But when it comes to the tech development specifically, I really believe that, I strongly believe that our team has a really strong capability on that. Since our CTO, especially our CTO, has been in the tech development industry for over 2 decades. He's been building many um, core, like for example, there was a one of the projects that he did was for Mastercard. um, this is also a really helpful background for our community to know that our CTO is actually, I believe there are only like 25 or 6 authorized uh, um, developer for Mastercard to maintain their global transaction platform, and our CTO is actually one of them. So this is a really great credit for our supporter to know, I believe. So that's also tells us how great our tech team is. Um, for example, when back in the phase one, when we first kickstarted the whole project, just within 2 weeks, our team were able to adapt the Rust language. They had zero background in Rust, but they were able to adapt the whole new language for the hackathon event within just 2 weeks. Um, I think that's something to prove, right?
Yeah. And I think another awesome thing to just tap in here is support you guys have seen from the ecosystem, being able to come out on top for the hackathon, and also the backing. It shows that there's a lot of people that think what you guys are building is innovative, and the fact that DarleyGo is building something that could be the future of gaming on Solana. So I think that's really exciting to touch on as well. Also, just the idea, how you touched on balancing the game economy. Something that I've read from Ray Dalio is typically if you're worrying about something or thinking something a lot, it means you're on the right track. And so that's something that is really great to hear in the sense because I think everyone that thinks about, and even the experts that get into game economy design, know that it's not something easy. It's actually really hard to nail it down. So really thinking about it and applying focus is so important, especially when we're moving towards these open economy systems. So I just wanted to add that on as well, because it does seem like it is something you guys are really thinking about.
Yeah, of course. I mean, one thing that I really like about the whole industry is it's still relatively new, right? Uh, I don't think there is any like a complete like expert here, right? Of course, some people have their own talents and they have experience from the from other industry. But I feel like when it comes to especially the GameFi industry, it's still really new. Everyone just really still you know thinking about or designing the perfect model for their own game, right? So I think it's just you know so in our case, if you look at the achievement that we have achieved so far, the community choice award from the Solana hackathon, got many supports from all our seed investors and also all the support, all our communities. What we think is that since what we have been building so far, it just seems like the people really like what we are building so far. Um, Including the idea and also the whole the graphics we're building, the gameplay modeling, and all that stuff. Uh, I just feel like as a team, we just have to be agile enough, right? We're definitely not gonna be a stubborn team. Like I think this is gonna work. We're just gonna stick with this model. No, it's not gonna be like that. For us, our team's been really working hard since day one. I mean, I would say we've been probably working like 14, 15 hours per day, which is pretty common in this field, right? But
Yeah.
what we've been doing every day is to pay attention to what's really happening, not only not only within our own projects, but also the whole ecosystem, especially within the Solana ecosystem. Like what's good there. If there is anything new comes out lately that we can probably either collaborate with or probably take do some research or take a good look to see if there's anything we can apply onto our model. Um, so that's kind of our whole team's mentality. Just have to be agile enough. to learn, to change, and do what's the best for the whole community and our players.
Yeah, and I really think that mentality is really attributable to the success that you guys have seen up until now. And even just looking at this slide that you have up is great. Things we've talked about, but seeing them, these are monumental events. So I think that's really awesome.
We're doing our best. Um, so the next big event will be where we let all of our Genesis cards holder to redeem their NFT horses and what we call the NFT badge, um, which is going to be like this, starting from 22nd this month. Um, the whole events will be hosting on our own website. We'll have more information released on our Discord and Twitter later within the next couple of days.
That's awesome. And on our end at Solana News, we'll definitely be covering this, just looking to get this to our users, especially those who are watching here. So this is definitely something to be excited about.
Thank you so much. I mean, Solana News has been great. It's been really helpful. I really like how you guys work. Just always really quick to, respond, and also, all the. One part that I really like about you guys is you guys really put in the hard work. You guys really design all the graphics for each of the news for different projects. That's really amazing. You don't really see uh, that very often out there.
Yeah, our graphics team is amazing and it really sets us apart. And I think something that we like to do is just really cover these exciting events, such as DarleyGo revealing their Genesis cards and having these events, because people, especially power users in Web3, want to hear about these things. And so it's a great way to really touch on them because it's exciting what projects like yourself at DarleyGo are building. So it really stems from us just being excited from what projects like DarleyGo are building.
Thank you so much. We are really excited to deliver the product to the community. Would really love to see how everything goes.
Yeah, 100%. And we're definitely getting down to the bottom here, but I just have a couple questions. I know like a big one is, how does DarleyGo look to differentiate versus all the other different horse racing games? And I think there's a few big things, but I'm curious to hear from your end.
Um, so I would say our team is definitely very unique in my very own opinions. For example, me myself, before kickstarting this project, I was actually trading real life race horses around the world. Uh, I've been always a great fan of horse racing. Grew up watching a lot of racing events. Um, you know, so I would say I play pretty much all horse race, most of the horse racing video games out there since the PC era and PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, 3, right? There's always just one thing that I think that I'm just, there's one major problem that hasn't been able to solve all this year until we saw Zed Run, right? Which is monetization. Um, and that Zed Run has definitely done an amazing job. They introduced this, the integration of NFT horses into a video game, and it just make it like like real world, right? In real world, this is how it works too, right? You want to you want to own a champion horse. If their performance rate is good, you can always try to, enter them into a stud farm to become a stallion and make some passive income. This is basically the same, except it's a digital version, right? Or virtually, but which is amazing. In this case, you don't really have to worry about too much. For example, like injury problem, right? The training cost, so many different extra costs will have to be, adding up uh, onto the bill every month, in real world when you're a horse owner. But in this NFT gaming world, it doesn't work like that, right? As long as you own your NFT horse, you like at least in DarleyGo, you don't have to pay the training fees to maintain it every single month, right? It won't get injured, right? Your horse won't die. It live forever happily in on in our galaxy. So that's what I would say. So what happened is, after seeing all these possibilities and our experience in gaming, this game design and also horse racing game, is what we're trying to do is to make a really fun game. Like I mentioned earlier before, we want to make a game not only able to help our players to get some extra income uh, per month or per day, right? But also making a game that they can really enjoy playing with.
Yeah, and that's actually one of probably the most important things. And it sounds so simple to say, just making a game fun, but there's so much that goes into it. And you sharing your backstory of really just being deeply ingrained in real life horses and seeing the industry, I think is really exciting for the fact that you guys are looking to build this game on Web3 in the metaverse, and you really understand the mechanics that go into it. And now you can kind of jump into this playground and take all the best aspects of what you like from the real world horse industry and really just bring it onto Solana into Web3. And I think the best part about all of this is that you have talent on the team and you have people backing you guys up to really make this happen. So seeing all of that is just really exciting to see. And I'm just curious on your end, as we start to wrap this up, what is one of the biggest things both in Solana and both in DarleyGo that you are really looking forward to see, Alvin?
You mean from our projects, like what I would like to see in what will happen in the future from
Yeah, so
Dolly?
you could do it one by one. The first one we could talk about is DarleyGo in the future, maybe in the next 1 to 5 years, where you would want to see this project, and then also doing something similar for just the Solana ecosystem as a whole.
Well, I would say for Dolly Go, we definitely would love to make a game not just only attracted by the crypto players. You know, our goal is always to focus on those non-crypto users, right? We definitely, because I've seen how popular a horse racing game could be, and how many people don't haven't even heard of the whole NFT industry, NFT gaming, right? So our end goal, not end goal, but our main goal, one of our main goals will definitely be how are we going to attract those people from the racing industry? For example, those people who work in the horse racing industry, those horse trainers, jockeys. We have deep connection with all those people, especially in UK, Hong Kong, and South Korea, and the market there is huge, and this is what we are building right now. Is absolutely solving one of the major problem of horse racing game. Um, that has been have that hasn't been solved all from all these years, which is monetizations. And if we get to introduce this idea to those people, I believe this game will just really take off.
Yeah, and I think that's incredibly exciting. And just to wrap this all up, what has it been like building on Solana, and what are you excited for that's to come? I mean, I've been at this Mountain Dow Hacker House, and just seeing all the talent in the space just gets me really excited for what is building and what's to come in the ecosystem.
Well, first of all, I have to say I really like working with the whole Solana ecosystem so far. One of the there are two reasons that we chose Solana when we first kickstarted the whole project. The first one would definitely be its speed, right? It's fast. Despite all the recent issues they're experiencing, but I think it's still they're getting everything's back on track slowly. Um, but the second part would be the overall quality of the projects on Solana. I think in general, in my own opinion, I think it's really high. The overall quality there. For example, Rowie, Chainsmith, and Portals, many other games out there. They're really high quality. So what I'm also really looking forward is to really do some collaboration with other projects, not just like whitelist collaboration, all that stuff. It's more like, especially with those non-utility NFT projects, how are we gonna do some in-game collaborations? For example, if you have a specific NFT in your wallet when logging into our game, you will get a certain special name or skin or some special powers, stuff like that, right? Which I expect that this is probably a trend where it's heading into in the next couple of months. And this is what we're really exciting to see. And we have been already start talking with some potential projects to do that.
Yeah, and I think it is awesome to see the composability that is coming into gaming as it's been into Web3. Things like you're talking about integrating other projects into the game, even things like Rumble World was saying as well, and really just building a standard for everything that's building in the metaverse. And I think this wraps this all up for me, Alvin. And I just really want to thank you guys coming on.
Thank
The
you so
event
much.
was, yeah. And I just want to say the event was very much happy to have DarleyGo on. The community's fired up. Everyone's really excited as the game continues to move on. So definitely on our end, actually, over at Solana News, we're going to be keeping our ear to the ground on DarleyGo, looking to cover things like your guys' reveal as the game comes out, and really just give our users a holistic experience, because our entire team is really excited about what is building at DarleyGo, and it's also reflected through the ecosystem. So to wrap it all up, I just want to thank you for coming on, Alvin.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be here.
Yeah, thank you, thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Until next time.